General Hospital spoilers ask if it's time for healer Willow Tate to do some healing herself. Each day she sinks to a new low, and that's saying something. Thus far she's been reprimanded for slapping a colleague, had a hideous breakdown in court, and stalked a newborn baby. Yep, we think that about qualifies her for a little R&R. Let's dive deeper into how fans are reacting to Willow's downfall and options for the character's rehabilitation. Weeping Willow is in a bad way. Willow's world was blown to smithereens when she lost custody of her kids, and it got worse when she discovered her mom Nina Reeves had an affair with her husband-to-be Drew Kane. Despite Drew being at the center of her scorched earth, Willow made a deal with him during the August 27th episode. Drew maintains that he can get Willow's kids back, and the price for that is a reunion with him. Drew is as crooked as they come, so it's telling that Willow's desperation level has led her to get in bed with the devil again. Do you think that Willow needs an intervention at this point? Does Willow need an intervention? Willow knows that Drew lied to her son Wiley Corinthos, and let's not get started about betting her mom. Clearly Willow is not in a good headspace, so should she be treating vulnerable patients? If she's capable of slapping Dr. Lucas Jones at the hospital, what might she do to an innocent patient? Willow stalked Daisy Gilmore, resulting in mom Sasha Gilmore Corbin fleeing PC with her baby. Can Willow be redeemed? At this point we think that Willow could benefit from a stay at Shadybrook, Ferncliff, or any facility equipped to help her deal with the spiraling crisis she's in. Fans don't recognize Willow these days. She was once gentle and kind, but she's morphed into Cruella. As such, tons of GH fans are speculating that she needs and deserves mental health treatment to get her back on track. Tell us what you think of Willow, and if it's possible to redeem the character at this point. Be sure to catch up on everything happening with General Hospital right now. Come back here often for the hottest GH updates, news, and spoilers. Get comfortable and gain access to the best soap intel on the web. General Hospital spoilers indicate that Marco Rios has made a move against Sonny Corinthos, retaliating at him for the role that he believed that Sonny played in his mother, Natalia Ramirez's death. Marco made this move against his father, Jen Sidwell's wishes. Marco's budding romance with Dr. Lucas Jones could be at risk when he finds out what Marco did. Lucas Jones finds out that Marco Rios told Drew Kane about Judge Heron being bribed. Marco told Drew Kane about Judge Eva Heron being bribed with $1 million deposited into her bank account the day before the custody verdict. Drew will not stop until he proves that Sonny bribed the judge, therefore awarding Michael Corinthos full custody of his children, Wiley Corinthos and Amelia Corinthos. It's only a matter of time before Lucas gets wind of the fact that Marco told him about the bribe, and that now Michael will risk losing his children forever thanks to Marco. Lucas Jones confronts Marco Rios after learning that Marco told him about the alleged bribe of Judge Heron. Lucas would be livid. He would be angry that Marco did not come to him first, but also he would be livid that Marco wasn't thinking about protecting Wiley and Amelia, as custody could revert back to Willow Tate. Lucas would tell Marco that he did not put the welfare of the children first, and Michael should pay for what Sonny may or may not have done. He cannot get past this, and he refuses to forgive him. A stubborn Marco would tell him that he needed Sonny to pay for killing his mother, and he did what he had to do. Lucas would tell him that it's over between them, and that there is no going back now. Lucas Jones reports Willow Tate's slap in a last-ditch effort to help Michael and keep Willow away from their children. Lucas would report Willow slapping him during the shift at GH. This could prevent Willow from having access to Wiley and Amelia, and help Michael in the process. Michael will need all the help that he can get now that Sonny has been accused of bribery. Lucas would tell Marco that he needs to corroborate his story since he saw the slap. This is the least he could do for him, but it would divide them even further. What do you think? What do you think? Do you think that Lucas will find out that Marco exposed Judge Heron, allegedly being bribed by Sonny? Will Lucas end things with Marco after he confronts him? Will Lucas take action to help Michael keep his children? Keep watching General Hospital, weekdays on ABC, to find out what happens with Lucas and Marco. And check back here regularly for all your latest General Hospital information, news and spoilers. The air hung heavy with the scent of damp earth and blooming jasmine as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the sprawling meadow where the weeping willow stood. Its branches, long and sinewy, swayed gently in the evening breeze, their tips brushing the ground like the fingers of a mournful lover tracing the outlines of a lost memory. For decades, this tree had been more than a landmark in the small town of Eldergrove. It was a legend, a silent witness to countless stories, heartbreaks, and whispered promises. To the townsfolk, it was a symbol of endurance, its roots deep and unyielding, even as its drooping limbs seemed to weep for the passage of time. But now a new chapter was unfolding, one that had set tongues wagging and hearts racing. The question of whether the weeping willow, or rather, the spirit it was said to embody, was ready to commit, to what or whom, no one could say with certainty. Eldergrove was a place where time seemed to move slower, where the rhythm of life was dictated by the seasons and the stories passed down through generations. The weeping willow stood at the heart of it all, its massive trunk anchoring a clearing that had hosted picnics, weddings, and quiet moments of reflection for as long as anyone could remember. Children grew up climbing its lower branches there, laughter echoing through the meadow while elders sat beneath its shade, recounting tales of the tree's origins. Some said it was planted by a grieving widow who poured her tears into the soil, willing the tree to grow as a monument to her lost love. Others claimed it was older, tied to ancient rituals performed by the town's founders, who believed the willow held a spirit that guarded Eldergrove from harm. Whatever the truth, the tree was a touchstone, a constant in a world that was always changing. In recent months, however, something had shifted. The whispers began in the town's only diner, where locals sipped coffee and exchanged gossip over plates of blueberry pancakes. It started with a few strange occurrences: lights flickering near the willow at odd hours, soft murmurs heard by late-night wanderers, and an unusual warmth radiating from the tree's bark, even on chilly autumn evenings. At first, these were dismissed as quirks of nature, or the overactive imaginations of a small town with little else to occupy its collective mind. But then came the dreams. Dozens of residents reported the same vivid vision: a figure cloaked in green, standing beneath the weeping willow, beckoning them closer with an outstretched hand. The figure never spoke, but its presence was undeniable, its gaze piercing yet gentle, as if it were searching for something, or someone. The dream sparked a frenzy of speculation. The town's unofficial historian, Clara Hensley, pored over dusty records in the library, unearthing references to the willow as a binding place, a site where promises were sealed and fates intertwined. She shared her findings at the monthly town meeting, her voice trembling with excitement as she read from a faded journal kept by one of Eldergrove's founders. The journal spoke of the willow as a living entity, capable of choosing a guardian to carry its legacy forward. When the time is right, the passage read, "The willow will call, and one must answer." Clara's words ignited a firestorm of debate. Was the willow truly alive in some mystical sense? And if so, what did it want? The idea that the tree was seeking commitment, a partner, a protector, or perhaps something else entirely, captivated the town. Among the most ardent believers was Lila Harper, a young artist who had returned to Eldergrove after years in the city, drawn back by an inexplicable pull she couldn't name. Lila had always felt a connection to the weeping willow, sketching its gnarled branches and cascading leaves in her notebooks as a child. Now, at 27, she found herself visiting the tree almost daily, sitting cross-legged on the grass, her sketchpad filled with images of the green-cloaked figure from her own recurring dreams. Lila wasn't alone in her fascination. The town's youth, particularly the teenagers who gathered at the meadow on weekends, began to treat the willow like a shrine, leaving offerings of flowers, handwritten notes, and small trinkets at its base. They called themselves the Willow Fans, a loosely organized group that spent hours discussing the tree's mysteries on social media, their posts tagged with #WillowCommitment. The phenomenon wasn't limited to Eldergrove. Word of the weeping willow's strange behavior spread beyond the town's borders, fueled by the Willow Fans' online presence. Bloggers and paranormal enthusiasts descended on the meadow, their cameras and microphones turning the quiet clearing into a circus. A popular podcast, Mysteries of the Mundane, dedicated an entire episode to the willow, interviewing locals and speculating about whether the tree was a portal, a sentient being, or simply a lightning rod for collective delusion. The attention brought tourists, who snapped selfies with the willow and left behind litter that the town's maintenance crew grumbled about. Yet, for all the noise, no one could deny the tree's pull. Even skeptics, like the gruff mechanic Tom Carver, admitted to feeling a strange calm when they stood beneath its branches, as if the willow were whispering secrets they weren't quite ready to hear. Lila, however, was convinced the willow was more than a symbol or a tourist trap. She spent hours researching folklore, combing through myths about sacred trees and their roles in human history. She learned of the Celtic reverence for oaks, the Norse tales of Yggdrasil, and the Japanese stories of Kodama, spirits that inhabited ancient trees. The weeping willow, she theorized, might be a modern echo of those ancient beliefs, a vessel for something greater than itself. Her theory gained traction among the willow fans, who began to see the tree as a bridge between the mundane and the divine. They organized midnight vigils, holding hands in a circle around the willow, chanting softly in hopes of summoning the green-cloaked figure. Lila didn't join these gatherings. She preferred her quiet moments with the tree, but she couldn't shake the feeling that the willow was watching her, waiting for her to make a choice. The question of commitment loomed large. What did it mean for the willow to commit? Some, like Clara, believed the tree was seeking a human partner, someone to protect it as Eldergrove grew and modern development crept closer. The town had recently approved a plan to expand the nearby highway, and rumors swirled that the meadow might be rezoned for commercial use. The thought of bulldozers tearing through the willow's roots was unbearable to many, and the willow fans launched a petition to declare the tree a protected landmark. Others, including the town's pastor, Reverend Daniels, took a more spiritual view. He preached that the willow's call was a metaphor for personal commitment, to faith, to community, to the earth itself. The willow asks us to root ourselves in what matters, he said during a sermon that left half the congregation in tears. For Lila, the question was more personal. She had always been a wanderer, moving from one city to another, chasing dreams that never quite materialized. Eldergrove, with its sleepy streets and familiar faces, had been a refuge, but also a reminder of her own indecision. The willow, she felt, was challenging her to stay, to plant roots of her own. One evening, as she sat beneath the tree, a sudden wind stirred the branches, and a single leaf fell into her lap. It was perfectly shaped, its edges curling like a heart, and Lila felt a jolt of certainty. She began to paint, her canvas capturing the willow in vibrant greens and golds, its branches reaching toward a starry sky. The painting, which she titled Time to Commit, became a sensation when she shared it online, drawing thousands of likes and comments from the willow fans and beyond. The painting sparked a new wave of visitors, but it also deepened the divide in Eldergrove. Some residents, weary of the crowds and the constant talk of spirits, argued that the willow was just a tree, nothing more. They pointed to the practical concerns: traffic congestion, litter, and the strain on the town's limited resources. Others, including the willow fans, saw the tree as a call to action, a reminder that beauty and mystery still had a place in a world obsessed with progress. The debate came to a head at a town hall meeting, where Clara presented her petition to protect the willow, now backed by thousands of signatures from across the globe. The mayor, a pragmatic woman named Ellen Tate, listened carefully but warned that sentiment alone couldn't stop development. "We need to balance the past with the future," she said. Her words met with both applause and groans. Lila, who attended the meeting, felt torn. She loved the willow, but she also understood the need for growth. Eldergrove couldn't stay frozen in time, just as she couldn't keep running from her own choices. That night, she returned to the meadow, her footsteps soft on the dew-soaked grass. The willow loomed before her, its branches swaying as if in greeting. She placed her hand on its trunk, feeling the rough bark beneath her fingers, and whispered, "I'm here." The air seemed to hum, a low vibration that coursed through her body, and for a moment, she thought she saw the green-cloaked figure standing just beyond the tree, its eyes meeting hers. Then it was gone and Lila was alone with the willow, her heart pounding with a mix of fear and resolve. The next morning, Lila began organizing. She rallied the willow fans, not to protest or chant, but to propose a compromise. They would create a community trust to maintain the meadow, funded by donations and small system, the small grants program that had sprung up around the tree. The idea was to preserve the willow and its surroundings while allowing controlled development, like eco-friendly trails and a small visitor center to educate tourists about the tree's history. The proposal wasn't perfect. Some purists wanted the meadow untouched, but it gained enough support to sway the town council. By spring, the weeping willow was declared a protected site, and Lila's trust took over its care, ensuring that the tree's legacy would endure. Lila continued to visit the willow, her paintings now hanging in homes and galleries far beyond Eldergrove. She never saw the green-cloaked figure again, but she felt its presence in the rustle of the leaves, in the warmth of the bark, in the quiet moments when she sat beneath its branches. The willow had chosen her, she believed, not as a guardian, but as a partner in its story, a commitment she was finally ready to make. And as the years passed, the weeping willow stood tall, its branches still weeping, still whispering, still binding the hearts of those who paused to listen. The growing tension around Willow has reached a boiling point, and fans everywhere are buzzing with frustration, confusion, and a sense of impending heartbreak. For months, viewers have watched Willow spiral under the weight of emotional turmoil, complicated loyalties, and never-ending secrets that seem to haunt her at every turn. Every decision she makes, every conversation she has, and every look she gives seems to push her deeper into a place where she feels trapped, misunderstood, and painfully vulnerable. Her relationships are fraying, her health has been shaky, and the constant chaos surrounding her has left her emotionally drained. Fans have started to voice a controversial opinion across social media and discussion forums. It might be time to commit Weeping Willow before her breakdown becomes irreversible. The heart of Willow's current situation stems from a dangerous combination of misplaced trust and suppressed emotions. She has been trying so hard to be the glue holding everyone around her together. Yet the harder she tries, the more things fall apart. Her marriage has been strained, her loyalty to Michael has been tested repeatedly, and her interactions with Nina continue to keep her in an emotional chokehold. Every time Willow attempts to distance herself from drama, she gets pulled right back into the whirlwind of Port Charles politics, family betrayals, and shocking revelations. Her tendency to internalize pain rather than confront it head-on has turned her into a ticking emotional time bomb. And fans are worried that the next explosion could destroy everything she has left. Part of the growing frustration among viewers comes from Willow's refusal to truly process her trauma. From her battle with leukemia to the devastating family secrets surrounding her parentage, she has been through more than most people could endure. Yet instead of facing those scars and allowing herself to heal, Willow continues to bottle up her emotions while making choices that drag her deeper into chaos. Every tear she sheds feels heavier now because fans see the signs of emotional exhaustion written all over her face. The moments where she breaks down seem to come more frequently, and the slightest conflict sends her spiraling into guilt and sadness. Many viewers believe that she's reached the point where she can no longer manage this storm on her own. Michael's role in Willow's unraveling cannot be overlooked. What once seemed like a stable and supportive partnership has been replaced by subtle resentment, unspoken tension, and growing emotional distance. Michael's choices, particularly his ongoing vendetta against Sunny, and the way he handles family conflicts, have placed Willow in impossible situations where she is forced to choose sides. No matter what she does, she risks alienating someone she loves, and that constant pressure has become unbearable. Fans see her struggling to keep the peace, even at the cost of her own mental health, and they're worried that the breaking point is coming sooner rather than later. Adding to the chaos is the unrelenting tension between Willow and Nina, a relationship that has always been defined by betrayal, mistrust, and lingering resentment. Nina's involvement in Willow's life has brought nothing but pain, and despite brief moments where it seemed like reconciliation was possible, those hopes have always shattered under the weight of new secrets and manipulations. Each confrontation leaves Willow visibly shaken, and each time she attempts to set boundaries, something or someone pulls her back into Nina's orbit. Fans have been vocal about how toxic this dynamic has become, and many believe it's one of the biggest reasons Willow's emotional state has deteriorated so rapidly. Even as her personal relationships crumble, Willow's responsibilities as a mother have added yet another layer of pressure she can't seem to handle. She loves her children deeply, and her fierce desire to protect them has always been one of her strongest traits. But that same devotion has also become one of her greatest sources of stress. Between family feuds, threats from unexpected enemies, and the constant fear that her fragile happiness could be destroyed, Willow is drowning in anxiety. She's trying to be the perfect mother, wife, and peacemaker all at once, but in doing so she's losing sight of her own needs and well-being. This emotional spiral hasn't gone unnoticed by fans, who have taken to online forums, fan groups, and social media to debate what's next for Willow. A growing number believe that she needs professional help before things take a darker turn. It's not just about managing the drama around her anymore. It's about saving herself from being consumed by it. The suggestion to commit Weeping Willow doesn't come from a place of cruelty but rather concern. Viewers have seen too many Port Charles residents fall apart when they try to carry their burdens alone, and many fear that Willow is heading down that same dangerous path, unless she finds a way to step back and get the help she needs. There's also a strong undercurrent of frustration among longtime viewers who feel the writers have put Willow in a constant cycle of victimhood, without allowing her to grow stronger from her experiences. Every time she tries to reclaim control of her life, another devastating twist knocks her off balance. Fans want to see her empowered, making decisions for herself instead of being pulled in 10 different directions by everyone else's agendas. But until she takes that step, the idea of an emotional collapse feels inevitable, and some believe that time away from the chaos of Port Charles could be the reset she desperately needs. Of course, the possibility of a full-blown mental health storyline opens the door to major shifts in several other storylines as well. Michael would be forced to confront his own role in Willow's suffering, perhaps leading to explosive confrontations within the Corinthos family. Nina's obsession with control could spiral even further out of hand if she's cut off from Willow entirely. And if Willow does take a step back, it could create unexpected openings for other characters to step into her place, shifting alliances and deepening rivalries across Port Charles. Fans are already speculating that this could lead to shocking betrayals, unexpected reconciliations, and new power dynamics that would reshape the canvas of the show. For now, though, Willow remains caught between her desire to hold her life together and the crushing weight of everything threatening to tear it apart. Her tears have become symbolic for viewers, a representation of someone who has endured too much without getting the support she truly needs. Whether or not the writers decide to take her down the path of a mental health-focused storyline, it's clear that something has to give soon. Willow can't continue at this pace forever, and fans are bracing themselves for the moment when she finally reaches her breaking point. If the writers handle it with care, this could be one of the most powerful turning points in Willow's journey. It could be the storyline that finally forces her to confront her pain, reclaim her strength, and redefine her relationships on her own terms. But if they continue dragging her through one heartbreak after another without giving her space to grow, the fan frustration will only deepen, and calls to commit Weeping Willow will grow louder. Right now, the future is uncertain, and everyone is waiting to see whether Willow rises from the ashes of her suffering, or if she completely shatters under the weight of it all.